Welcome everybody, Souldin of the Grin Brothers here, and it's time for another tea time. With me is a afternoon tea, different from the other afternoon tea, because I've had this afternoon tea before. It is absolutely dreadful, but because I haven't had it on the show yet, I figured on tea time yet, I figured I might as well try out again. Maybe I'll like it this time. I highly doubt it. But I'm having it pure black. Because I don't know, I want to suffer like that. It's how I had it before. In any case, before we begin tea time, I have one quick announcement to make. They should be uploaded once the Sonic Adventure episodes have all finished. But not all the Sonic Adventure is finished, but as in Sonic's campaign is finished, because that's how we decided to separate the series. We'll eventually be giving you the other characters' campaigns over time, because we haven't even recorded them all yet, so... But in any case, Sonic Adventure's Sonic campaign has just finished, and so we have a slight announcement to make. Due to certain difficulties, Rafi being busy with coursework over the Christmas period, and me suffering from a wisdom tooth growing through, which led to a sort of gum infection in my mouth, around my cheek, the Grin Brothers will be on a break for a while. Not too long of a break. We'll be taking 2 weeks off, starting from Saturday, so that'd be like 24th. Except we'll add in the extra 2 days because we just prefer sort of getting back to on Mondays. We do have the next. The reason sort of for this is, even though I have the time to edit the videos, I have other things I need to do. I've got some friends I'm trying to help out reviewing a sort of fanfiction contest with. And I don't want to start uploading any of the episodes of the next series, which won't be a Sonic Adventure one. You'll find out when I start uploading it, until we actually finish recording all of it. We're pretty much almost done, but we've had to we've stopped quite a few times during the recording of it because of things popping up. But so the Grin Brothers will be returning with regular content on Monday the 26th. Yes, that's when I shall return with uploads of the Grin Brothers videos. In that time, though, however, I may be uploading some tea times. Not every day, not in like a consistent stretch, but if certain news pops up, I shall be uploading a tea time. I have one tea time that I'm going to have prepared after this tea time for the Saturday, maybe, or Sunday, or Monday, or whatever. Maybe I'll try and space it out. But basically, if any news stories pop up which interest me to bring up in discussion, to make it slightly close to the date of the news reveal so it's more relevant, I shall do a tea time on that during the 2 week period. But otherwise, Grin Brothers will be returning with Grin Brothers content. After all, tea time is just the side content on Monday 26th of January. As for the topic of today, I should really go on to that. The topic is a recent thing. Well, it may not be as recent when I upload it on Friday, but which is today for you people who are seeing this right now. Not today for those who haven't seen it. But Miyamoto appeared on the Smosh channel, the YouTube channel Smosh, where various details ended up being disclosed. Nintendo seemed to be trying to get in well with the sort of YouTubers. I'd love it if they got in well with our YouTube channel here. That'd be wonderful. Doubt that will have happened until we increase the subscriber count and all that. But any case. But basically, I'm not going to talk about everything that Miyamoto sort of said within the thing, because I haven't actually watched the main sort of video of him actually appearing on Smosh. What has been getting a lot of attention in various news reports and such is Miyamoto's comment on F-Zero during the sort of episode of Smosh. And I figured that'd be worth talking about. I'd say, there are news stories to sort of see about that, where you can either sort of check out the Miyamoto sort of video on Smosh. Not sure what it's called, but I'm pretty sure if you typed in Smosh and Miyamoto, you'd find it. Game Explain have a pretty interesting discussion on that, and just about everything Miyamoto sort of ended up discussing. And but what I'd say would probably be the best sort of article, if you purely wanting the F-Zero stuff, would be going to Siliconera, because they're one of the only people who add in a bit of information which I find quite interesting, that seems to be left out of a lot of other people's sort of comment on the thing. But generally, what Miyamoto had to say with F-Zero is he basically said about how he made F-Zero followed by Mario Kart. But F-Zero is more of a traditional racer, even though it's a futuristic sort of high-speed racing game. And so they went with more sort of gamey, more random sort of item using sort of approach of the Mario Kart series, because not as many people sort of make those sort of games. But then he interestingly says is the F-Zero. I'll read the quote. So maybe if we create a new type of controller interface and we find a controller interface that's particularly suited for F-Zero, then maybe we'll do something with it in the future. This has led to a lot of sort of discussion, and people have been getting annoyed about that. Sort of saying about how all they really want is a HD online F-Zero. Now I'm going to say right up front here that although I'm a big Nintendo fan and researched tons of their IPs, I've not really properly played F-Zero. Had a little try of it on the Masterpiece on Brawl. I sucked at it, though that has given me a bit of insight into a key matter regarding F-Zero. But what Miyamoto brings up, well, for starters, a lot of people have been saying that he needs a new controller to make a new F-Zero, but of course in the interview, or at least according to the Silicon Air article, he says maybe, and maybe's a maybe. It's not for definite. I do feel that the Wii U could be a perfect controller for F-Zero. But I do kind of understand where sort of Mia comes from in not having made a new F-Zero, because what I've been able to understand from various sort of articles whenever F-Zero is brought up with Miyamoto, and particularly Miyamoto's earlier comment in regards to F-Zero as a traditional racer, is Miyamoto wants some form of innovation in the game, something new to make a new installment in F-Zero. And I don't think that's limited necessarily to what controller you're using. So, from what I understand, he wants to sort of like maybe innovate a new idea or evolve the actual gameplay itself. Sometimes that can be done through a control method. But I think the sort of limiting the sort of thinking of how it could work to just sort of purely the control method isn't quite isn't the sort of limitation that Miyamoto sort of is putting here, but it's how it comes across in the sort of article. For instance, Mario Kart 8 I haven't actually played Mario Kart 8, so that's probably not the best example. Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed. I feel that has innovated its gameplay from the predecessor of Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing. The reason is because of how the tracks are designed. By having the transformation mechanic, they change up, even if slightly, how the tracks are done, and it breaks the sort of repetitiveness of tracks, and it made every track in Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed feel much more unique, original. It made them better. It's why I consider Sonic All-Stars Racing Transformed better than Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing, because of the different sort of philosophy that kind of went into the sort of track design, and it sort of innovated the gameplay. I feel that sort of thinking, innovating the sort of gameplay with a new sort of idea, be it in a new sort of track theme, would work well for is what's really needed for Miyamoto to really properly consider making a new F-Zero. I mean, again, the new sort of controller unique to it that allows him to come up with a new idea would help, but in general, it's just that he doesn't want to make, as people demand, just a HD online F-Zero. Because that seems, if I was to interpret it from a creative standpoint, that just sounds very boring. Just make it HD, make it online. Well, you might as well just make a remake at that point, and even then, they're not really taking advantage of it. I mean, I do feel the series has plenty to offer. I feel it has plenty to offer in line with the gamepad. And I do feel the series does have certain sort of problems that it will encounter. For instance, as I mentioned earlier, I did try to play F-Zero. Didn't have a very good job of it. And from what I've heard sort of people say, F-Zero is a high-skill based game. That's a good thing. Unfortunately, it also has a high-skill barrier because it's really difficult to try and get into F-Zero from what I've tried to play of it. And I feel both in terms of how the gamepad is used, or I'll quickly say here, or the 3DS here, because I do think that a F-Zero game at the moment would actually be better suited to being on the 3DS. I feel these sort of things would actually, the certain things you can do with them would be able to lower the sort of skill barrier, or at least be able to get people who are not as good as the game, or newcomers, used to the game, and actually evolve them into becoming skilled F-Zero players, or skilled enough at the game. My ideas with that are mostly to do with having individual customizable handicaps, is how I'd personally choose to try and sort of innovate on the gameplay in a way. Your cars can take damage, so one thing would be to innovate how your cars take damage. Sort of say your car has this much more sort of durability, and then you can individually lower that to the standard stat over time, so you get the sort of player gets used to sort of the vehicle and not taking damage. And as they get better, the handicap's lower. Another idea is you can fly off the edges at times, so a sort of system wherein it sort of like stops you from doing so, or only gives you like a light repercussion rather than you just blowing up or something like that. Having handicap to be able to justify that as an individual thing as well as a damage thing. So both of those sort of things, I feel, if you were to individually customize them and slowly lower them over time until they set the sort of normal sort of mode into where you have no handicap, that'd be a good way to get people into the game, sort of newcomers, and considering how hard F-Zeros are supposed to be. Without, particularly if they were to use an online mode, which also helps in that transition period. As you do more races, you get better and better, and so you'll be put in sort of higher sort of tier online mode. I'm only sort of speaking from what little I've seen of online modes in various games because I don't play online. That sort of thing, I feel, could be done. So the sort of skilled players can, it won't lower the sort of skill required to play F-Zero at a sort of pure level, but it lowers the sort of skill barrier to get people involved, and it will eventually make those people who aren't as skilled to the degree, maybe not as much as those who never had to use handicap, but almost as much to sort of so that they can play as well. And that sort of thing I feel would be more innovating factor. And again, I feel sort of like the sort of second screen that the Wii U or 3DS offer could also help. Showing the sort of damage your vehicle has, maybe even using the touch screen to like sort of lessen damage, or you can remove certain parts to increase speed, or use it to sort of like maybe sort of hit the other players as a risky thing, falling sort of act sort of like a sort of oncoming debris or such. More as like emergency sort of situation thing, and I feel that sort of slight thing, after all it does have risks and involved in it, would actually sort of attribute quite well to the F-Zero series without getting in the way of its no items sort of pure sort of speed and skill and track memorization sort of gameplay, again from what I can understand of it. In any case, there's more I could discuss about this, but in any case, the interesting thing that I will want to sort of mention just before I end, that a lot of interviews are leaving out, is this quote. Actually, the lead designer on F-Zero, who I worked with on the original, is Mr. Takeya Imamura. He happens to be the creator, out of quote, he happens to be the creator of, sort of co-creator of F-Zero, art designer, and he also made Tingle. Back to the quote. And I worked together with him also on the original Star Fox games. So right now, the two of us are already busy working on the next Star Fox game. Takeya was even sort of like supervising producer of F-Zero GX, the F-Zero made by Sega. And as far as I'm aware, either him or Miyamoto have been involved with each of the F-Zero games. There's been quite a few, but they've had sort of a general involvement. So with both of them being busy on Star Fox, even if they did have the idea for an F-Zero, I don't think they'd necessarily be able to be working on it at the moment, considering they're busy with Star Fox U. It'd be nice in the case that once they finish Star Fox U, they start brainstorming ideas for a new F-Zero game, or even just one of them on their own with a new team. But we'll see. But in general, I do feel people are being a bit harsh to sort of Miyamoto's sort of interpretation of sort of things, in feeling that F-Zero needs to offer something new. I guess because people have been taking it more at the face value of the his lines regarding the control scheme, and feel that it's simply a matter of the controller. But I do feel that it's more than that. It could be just me interpreting more than there is there, but maybe it's not. In any case, I'm going to have my afternoon tea quick. Ugh, that is absolutely disgusting. And I'm going to say cheerio for now. Hope you enjoyed this F-Zero discussion. Yeah, I just had to add that in.